Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Did you know I used to work in the circus? I did 2 weeks as a circus ringmaster for the Jose Coles International Circus. Thought I'd throw out that little piece of trivia. Very trivial. So this is MagicBrad here at the MagicBrad Show, and today's Tuesday, and we're going to talk about technology and how to leverage technology and use technology so you're not working and trading your time for your money, and leverage this 24/7 that's going on. And I'm going to bring on my co-host, and then we've got a special guest, Richard, that's going to be coming in and chatting with us a little bit. So where in the heck is Brian? He's in the green room. Where is Brian? There he is. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if I asked you, do you get confused with Brents and Brads? Do people confuse your name?
What they do is they put the A after the R.
Oh,
time and time again, because in so many words in our language, Brad, A comes after R.
So you're the A. Brad. Even in Brad, it does.
They can't get BRIAN. As long as I live, they'll never get it right. I'll be brave.
We'll work on that. Maybe we'll petition the community, the internet community, and say, we want Brian, not brain. We don't want brains. We want Brians.
There we go.
So we've got a new guest on today, and he's going to be talking about e-commerce from what I understand. Yes? Do you do any e-commerce stuff?
Well, when the launch of On Passive takes place, yeah, that could happen. But for now, we're just going to talk to Richard about what he does as a self-employed business owner. He's in the business world, and it relates to IT. He's in the business of certifying products and making them labeled, both in a product information system inside a company and making sure they're proofed and labeled on the shelf as well. And he could talk more about that. I'm excited to bring on Richard Gentner.
Let me get him
backstage here.
There he is, Richard.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, Richard.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So tell the audience a little bit about what you do as it relates to SaaS companies, as it relates to the world of business.
Yep. So I have my own consulting business, and I have two parts of it. One is to help food manufacturers understand what they need to do to grow their e-commerce business. But I also help the SaaS suppliers, the service as a software, the ones who are in e-commerce and offering services to manufacturers to understand what's going on the other side of the desk.
Right. Kind of in the background.
Yep. Most of my experience is in product information. So making sure that it's right in systems, just like you said, Brian, and also that it gets distributed to retailers and other intermediaries like Instacart or shipped correctly. But what I found, how I ran into this, is I was talking with a friend, and he was working at a SaaS company, and his senior leaders were continually wondering what's going on. Why aren't these manufacturers biting at what we're providing? And he said, you really need to hire Richard. So it took about a year to get that going, but then it finally happened. So I help them with their strategy. I evaluate their product, help them with the go-to-market strategy. And I can really see some immediate impact. I was talking with one CEO, and he said that he had problems landing a client. So he brought up the email of the latest exchange, and I said, type this. Within 2 minutes later, he got a response that said, oh, now I get it, I'm in. So it's not too often that you get to see that immediate impact with what you do.
Yeah.
Just jumping in here a little bit, that's interesting. And to me, being my background's magical entertainment. And when you're doing the magic, what the audience sees versus what's really going on and what I'm thinking about,
right?
It's totally different. So it's changed a lot here with the internet because it's so open source, and general consumers are now hearing that word e-commerce or SaaS, wondering what in the heck is SaaS? I thought that was talking back to your parents. But people are starting to understand these buzzwords, and maybe not even understand them, just hear them. And then when you have a conversation, people will throw these buzzwords out like it's everyday language, and they don't realize that they're not communicating to each other.
Right.
You get so that simple email that it sounds like you consulted on had the right explanation, kind of like what Brian does as far as the tech writing.
Exactly.
Trying to put the stuff into regular human language, or the language that this person is like. If you're promoting a SaaS product and it's usually used in like the bakery industry, but you're trying to apply it to somebody in the medical industry, the language is going to be like talking Japanese to someone from Spain.
You're right. Yep.
And Richard, this isn't for the small mom and pop operation. This is for the mid-sized company you serve, because it has to have a certain impact. It has to have a certain reach.
Yeah, for the SaaS, it can be the startups. So one of the companies I'm working with, they've been in business for under 2 years.
Okay.
Well, you know what's another thing that's interesting about that is sometimes the startups or the beginning entrepreneur has an advantage because the old school guys going, we always did it on radio. And they stick with that and find out that that's just people on TikTok, not on the radio.
Right. And technology is changing so fast that back when they started the company, they were state of the art. But
and it's accessible to everybody.
Mm-hmm. But now to keep up with the demands of their clients, that they are finding that their systems are old, so they have to keep updating those.
Yep.
Well, you grab this domain name master-e.co, not com, but co. And the master E, that stands for like mastering e-commerce.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. I figured it out. Because if you go to master-e.co, it's plain as day, but just seeing it there, you wonder, what's master E?
Yes, and I went with .co instead of .com because it was a lot cheaper to get that domain name. And I was talking with some friends that started their company also, and they said that's pretty common with startups to do a .co.
Well, sometimes you can take that to your advantage and brand that. Go with the co. Instead of the com, which is common, go with the co that is different.
Right.
And look what Apple did to the name Apple.
Right.
Branded it, so you could brand that somehow, so people just don't make a mistake of typing com because they know that you are co.
So that's Richard, right. when you identify a company that you can help and you're going to meet with them, would that be a product marketing manager that you meet with? Is it a marketing leader that you can do a proposal for, or
for the SaaS companies, it's usually the CEO or the chief operating officer.
Okay. So you go that high. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Because they're typically smaller, right, than the
That's
other
right.
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, and they've got a good handle on what all the challenges are that they're facing.
Richard, do you help them with the software, or do you help them with the communications and the strategy?
It's more on the strategy side.
Okay, good.
I can fix some problems on my PC, but that's about the extent of my ability.
I work with a SaaS product that does direct mail postcards, greeting cards, and gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are developing this thing, they're so in their world, they don't see it from someone on the outside. So when you go to the landing page, it shows how great it is, and then it has a price tag on it. And it's like, you know what? I'm not ready to sign up right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going about it just thinking that they've got the best thing since sliced bread, and everybody else will believe so also.
Right.
It's a longer process. So that's the strategy. And my friend Ron Orr used to call that bridging too far.
I like it.
You're quantum leaping over there, trying to go, on a dating thing. You meet someone at a bar, and then you say, hey, let's get married and have kids. Doesn't work that way. It's the relationship building. So
Right.
it's very good
And
that
Richard,
you're helping them with strategy.
That's
Richard,
right.
I wanted to
Yep.
ask for those who are kind of learning about what you do, why is that important? Why is that information important in a product information system? Why is it important to have that internally? Of course, it builds credibility externally,
hmm
and the customer knows they're getting something that's been certified and such. But why is that important internally?
To the manufacturer or to the SaaS company?
Let's go with the manufacturer.
The manufacturers, because there's so many systems that are usually connecting with each other that it's hard to make sure that there's one source of truth for all the information.
Right.
Or it can be set on a whole bunch of different Excel sheets that are on people's computer.
Yes, they could be siloed. We call it siloed information.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then for the SaaS provider, they always have to design for the end user in mind. So I can help them understand what is it that people are looking for when they use their product.
Yeah, it gets into user experience.
Exactly. Yep.
I think that's a very important point with marketing and like any kind of business is what is the consumer, the end user thinking? You know, like for SEO and stuff, how do you know what they're typing in? You don't really know. So understanding the psychology behind people when they're doing this, are they busy right now? You know, I don't know, taking the kids to soccer and they happen to look at it on their phone when they're in the parking lot.
Yep.
Right.
They might still be working, but they had to take a break to take the kids to soccer. And are you communicating that? And are you communicating that it's being seen through a phone versus a laptop?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing all that stuff internally when they're developing this product. So I think it's really important to have someone like you to let people know that, hold on, you're communicating the wrong thing to the right people.
Yes.
Yeah. If you ever see a position, UX designer, that's what we just talked about, a user experience designer.
Mm-hmm.
UI is user interface. So sometimes you might see UI/UX designer. That's that person that creates that user experience with those things in mind. One of many factors. So,
right.
Perfect example. People that are in the business understand what UX and UI is, whereas someone that wants to use the service might not know.
Right.
It needs to be communicated, maybe spelled out, like acronyms. Oh my God, we got acronyms for everything.
Oh, we do.
That's why we have your show, Brad.
I like to bring things down in the old KISS method. Keep it super simple.
Yes.
And because the whole thing about business isn't that complicated. It's just finding someone with a problem, giving them a solution, and making a connection. That's all it really is. And then it's just a matter of the trust factor. Do you trust us from the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, or are you going to talk to somebody from a 15-year-old kid from Sri Lanka? Taking nothing away from those brains over in Sri Lanka, but that's why I like to do the video stuff. It shows we're real, human, and genuine. And if something happens, like the cat jumps up on the table, that's part of life. We're not so. It's not so phony anymore. It's like the real deal. We're here.
That's right.
So speaking of that, Richard, where are you? What city are you located in?
I'm in Plymouth.
Plymouth, Minnesota. You live there or work there or both?
Both.
Okay, so you're home based.
Yes, I am. Yep.
That's a fascinating thing too to me. That I've always been home based since 1975, basically. And then some people just can't comprehend it. That how could you possibly not have a cubicle? It's possible these days.
So, Richard, are you finding that there's no need for you to go into an office to see their software yet, or it's kind of a stay at home because it's COVID, or what kind of a response have you been seeing?
Yeah, most of the playing around that I can do with the system, they can give me access to it remotely. Right.
Okay.
So So there's really not a need, and because everybody's gotten so comfortable to having Zoom meetings or Google Meet, that's become the norm. So I can be in group discussions, and it's not a problem.
Okay, right, because your high-level strategy, you're not so much where it is in the software, but you're guiding them on their strategy, and then it's up to them to implement.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense too, because when you get into those screenshots of an Excel spreadsheet, and it's also teeny, it's kind of like pointless to have anyways. So save that stuff for when you do get into the office and things. And
exactly.
That's it. Going back to the simple method of things. I think people confuse this internet thing, thinking that it's like everything is going to be there for you, when really all this is just communication. We're just humans having a conversation, and that's all it really is. We don't need little PayPal buttons and messaging buttons and emojis popping up and all that stuff. We really don't need that.
Brad,
Even my soundboard isn't a real soundboard. It's just a little piece of plastic. And there's thank you very much.
Brad, are you discounting the rise of the chat bot, the artificial intelligence chat bot?
I have issues with those.
Oh.
I can see it if a person that's developing it isn't trying to make it you think that it's a real person, and they're just saying, hey, thanks for the message, I'll get back to you, within 20 minutes or a day or whatever. But if they're trying to actually answer questions, it's like you get frustrated. That's not what I meant.
Right.
Robot.
It doesn't think as well as a human. It's not. Yeah.
Totally.
I find it to be better than the phone trees that you get stuck in, though.
Yes.
The telephone trees.
Oh yeah, I got caught in one. I was talking with this lady for 5 minutes until it looped back and started from the beginning, and then I realized what was going on. I was seriously talking to a person.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we've gone for about 17 minutes. I try and keep these kind of condensed, so we can kind of wrap it up a little bit. Richard, is there anything else that you might want to pass on and share about your business and how people can get a hold of you? I know they can get a hold of you here, master-e.co.
Yep, and I'm on LinkedIn also.
Good old LinkedIn, kind of just spell out your name, Richard Gentner, and you can find you on LinkedIn. That's the way to use the platforms. There's not a lot of other behind it other than just getting connected and let's have coffee.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's all through networking.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, if there's
Thanks for
nothing
being
else,
on, Richard, and educating our audience. It was great.
Absolutely. And if you want to do it again, just let us know. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Some new thing that's going on, because everything's always changing, right?
Yes, it is.
Perfect.
Very much so.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
I'll pop you guys in the green room, and you can indulge in some of those digital hors d'oeuvres.
Yum.
Well, there we go with my friend Brian, my co-host, and it's all fascinating to me, all this internet stuff. I mean, I've got my one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, used to say, turn frustration into fascination. And I have to do that because the internet is full of frustration, but it's fascinating. So I'm going to sign this off. Round of applause for myself and my guests. Peace, love, and happiness. MagicBrad signing off. Thank you very much.